Welcome to Surviving the Pin with your hosts, author M. Swain, author Pablo Agrio, author Elsie Harmon.
Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you. Can't hear you, no. You might have to go back out and come back in. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
I hear you perfect.
Yeah, Latif is trying to get in again because there he is.
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. It just went out, man.
All right, my brother, take it away.
Okay. Once again, thanks everyone for joining in tonight. We want to make sure that we thank you. We appreciate you for joining in with us for another segment of Surviving the Pen. We also want to let everyone that's joining in that we do appreciate all comments and questions that one may have as we discuss tonight's segment. We're going to be talking about some social issues that personally affected us and how we dealt with those particular issues. And without further ado, because we press for time, I'm going to pass it on to our dear brother, Michael Swain, and then we'll go around to Pablo, and then I'll take it in the end.
Good evening. How everybody doing?
Great.
Great, Mike. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Good to see you two beautiful faces as well.
Yeah,
I'm
yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
I'm so ecstatic about meeting
Yeah.
y'all in person and shaking your hand next week.
Man,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
gonna
yeah. It's
you know,
that's
coming.
we
gonna
doing
be
we doing a little hanging out and just bringing the noise. But this show today is special to me because we get to read passages from our books, right? So um I've been wondering and worrying about what I'm gonna read. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do like I do when I tell people, just open the page up and start reading. I bet you like what you're reading, right? So I just opened the page up and it jumped on page 240. And the name of this is called Animals Belong in Cages. It says the following morning, Cato is chopping it up with Mo on his way to work. Mo, what's up, old nigga? You get the message last night? Yeah, she's gonna see my sister and nephew this morning. After that, she's going straight to my sister's house. That should be all good here in a little bit. She told me she was getting up early and getting it done for me. Make sure your nephew is on point so my mama ain't just sitting around waiting. I got you, young nigga. Everything's gonna be straight and on point. Nephew ain't leaving the house until the business is done. But I'm going to work. Tell your nephew he owes too for that front door service, and ain't no more of that. Moses laughed. I feel you. Sure will. Can't have my baby riding like that. As a matter of fact, I'm calling him now. It'll be 18 instead of 17. I got you, Kay. This dope talk for y'all that don't know what this is. I got you, Kay. Yep, I'm gone. Cato stood up and slapped down with Moses. He walked out to the gym and went over to the box. Good morning, Miss Taylor. How you doing this morning? I'm good now you're here. I went to sleep thinking about you, Cato. Oh, really? I sure would like to know what those thoughts were. Where Thompson at? On one of them pods. Okay, well, good morning, Angela, with your fine ass. I thought about you last night, too. Angela blushed because of what he had just said to her. Now, that's what deserves an oh, really. You just say what you think I want to hear. No, I ain't. I'm being real. But fuck it, since you don't believe me. Thompson walked off the pod he was on, and Angela changed the conversation, even though she didn't want to because of how Cato had just said, fuck it, since you don't believe me. The way he said it, she knew he was being sarcastic, but it made her feel a certain kind of way. Cato, I need you to clean the restrooms for me, please, sir, and sweep and mop out here before you get on your little adventures today. You asking me or you telling me? You answer that for yourself. Whichever one gets it done, smart mouth. Cato put his right hand on Thompson's shoulder, guiding him away from Angela's desk. Said, what's good, Tom? Ain't shit, my boy. What's up with you? Same old, same old. What's on your mind? Say, before they could get out of Angela's sight, Cato looked back at her, and Angela was looking at him while Thompson's back was to her. She kept dropping her eyes to Cato's dick and licking her lips. Then she mouthed to him without no sound coming out of her mouth, but so he could read her lips. Today she lipped. Cato smiled at her. Shit, holla at me, Tom. Let's go to the office and rap so we can get an understanding. They walked into the office and closed the door. What's good, Tom? My boy, I got two of my homies, like I told you. They looking. I told them I knew where it was at. Word is, it's drying up out here. I'm hearing the same thing down my way. Yeah, well, my boy, they trying to cop. Both of them want a brick, a piece. Good niggas and everything is straight, no worries. Oh, yeah? You saying they are your peoples? Both of them? Yeah, my boy. I don't fuck with just anybody. I've known those two niggas all my life. They ain't out there like that. They work and let their cousins move their shit. You say one apiece, they gonna take that ride? To who, to who? Your nigga? Nah, my people. But it can be my nigga if it's needed to be. Either way, my boy, they ready now to move. Okay, let's get it together. I'll let you know in the morning. Bet, my boy. Your boy told you I jumped through again. No, he didn't tell me, but you said it. You said you were. You working. You working, ain't you? Yeah, my boy. I caught 5 of them pillows from him. Oh, yeah. Why you don't fuck with that work, Tom? Nah, my boy. I'm good with that. Show for show, slow for show flow. You hear me? The other shit too fast for me. I'll kick it. I'll stick with this herb. I heard that. After I clean this restroom up, I need to holler at my dude Warren. I got you, my boy. A few minutes later, Warren Estevan walked into the office. They greeted each other before Warren sat across the desk from Cato. My friend, you look like you belong behind a big desk. Maybe someday, huge mahogany or cherry wood desk in your own office over a big company. Hey, I see it. Can you, my friend? Haven't put much thought into that yet, Warren. Why not? It's a possibility, you know. Yeah, I know it is. I just haven't put much thought into the big company. But that's what's up, dog. Man, 10 of them. Yeah, I trust you, my friend. I hear that. And I appreciate that too. But you could have told me ahead of time. If I would have told you this before I did it, you wouldn't have taken them. And you wouldn't have taken the 10 kilos, Poppy. You have foolish pride, Cato. Foolish pride. He looked at Warren with the expression on his face, letting Warren know he was confused by his statement. Yes, my friend, foolish pride. Your pride gets in your way, your own way, making you stumble over your own feet. Your feet are what you stand on, but your feet are connected to your legs because together, your legs and feet move together to move you forward. They work together to serve a purpose. You will always stumble over your own feet because you do not see your own potential. But one day you will. I see in you a good businessman, my friend. You just need to know the right people to give you a chance. It's now your chance because now you know me, okay? Warren Estevan. We make a lot of money together, okay? He said, I hear you, dog, but why wouldn't she take the 9,000 mama tried to give her? For what, my friend? Just we do all at one time. And when you take care of that, I give you 20 kilos next time. 20? Yes, you can handle it. Every time I give you more and more until you say you are comfortable at a certain number. Okay, Poppy, we have an agreement, my friend. Together, we are like the legs and the feet. Yeah, we have an agreement, Warren. Good. Now, we have no need to talk about yayo anymore, right? Say, we good, Warren, we good. Cato didn't see that Warren was turning him into a kingpin. And he was doing it from in prison. Warren, why don't you sit out here and kick it with me? This is not kicking it to me, my friend. We kick it in the streets when we get home to our own houses, our own homes. This is not our house. This is someone else's house. And we can't get comfortable in someone else's house that we don't know, eh? Me and you and some pretty girls sometimes, and sometimes my family and your family, we take yacht out for a week or so to some island, spend a lot of money, eat whatever we want, and see smiles on our mothers' faces. That's kicking it to me, my friend. Kicking it with the people we love the most and who love us the most. I hear you. My mama said your mama drive nice cars. He said my family owns 3 car dealerships. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Any car you want, we can get for you. Oh yeah. I'm thinking about getting my girl a car. Don't think, my friend. Do it. It's only money. What kind of car? A BMW 325i. What color? Black. Fully loaded with a sunroof? Yeah. Say, give me the phone. One dialed out and started speaking immediately as soon as someone answered on the other end. Uncle, my friend wants to get his girl a car. All black BMW 325, fully loaded with a roof. Yes, uncle, this is my friend that I gave the 10 to yesterday. One never took his eyes off of Kato the entire time he was on the phone. Where do you want it delivered to, Kato? When is it going to be delivered? When do you want it delivered? Poppy, realize you are dealing with money. Anything is possible. So I'm gonna skip to the back of this chapter where it's talking about the chapter title. In this chapter, his granny makes that statement about animals belong in cages. And this book, man, it's a lot of emotions behind this book. This book has a lot of my memories. This book has a lot of my dreams, my ambitions. This book is what I knew was gonna take me away from the streets. It's very easy for me to get emotional over this story because it's my story. So I'm gonna break it down to why. And I said it's his grandmother's, actually his great grandfather who tells him animals belong in cages. His great grandfather was a pimp that became a pastor of a church, and that's his granny's father. He was a master mason in real life. When he died, he was carried over the pallbearer's shoulders, and for a long time, his great grandfather was trying to get through to Kato, and his great grandfather understood that for Kato to stop doing what he was doing, that when he came to him for help, he had to help him. So he helped him, but he explained to him about animals belong in cages. And he told him, he said, you're not an animal. So why are you in that cage? He told him, say, come home to your family, come home to the people that love you, and show us what you can do out here. So a lot of this book is when you read this book and you really understand what you're reading and you really following what you read, it's a lot of odd moments in my book.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of moments that'll make you go back and think about, your past, your family, etc. Things that you did, mistakes, all that stuff. So with that, I'm a sign off and pass it on to Pablo. But it's a great book, and this is to my understanding, probably the last one where we just gonna be strictly on about prison. So I'm gonna give y'all some time and let's try to chop it up on some other things.
I got one quick question for you, Mike. The characters in the book as you was reading, were they in the pen? I was just trying to figure out what the setting was.
Yeah, the setting was in the setting.
Yeah.
Most of this book, the setting is in prison.
Everything was happening in the pen. The conversation that was taking
Everything
place.
was happening.
And
everything
the
was
character was
pen.
dialing up a number from the pen and ordering a car and all that.
Yeah,
that's powerful.
Yeah, Kato had a job working in the hole.
Oh, okay.
The lieutenant over the hole, was his Jailhouse
I get it.
girlfriend.
I get it now. I was
You
just trying
know?
to make sure I got the full picture, man.
Yeah. So
Well,
he,
all right then. So I guess this is what we're doing. Then we're just reading a quick excerpt from the book to
yeah.
share with the audience. All right. So I'm gonna do like you did then, since I didn't have anything pre-planned for this, but audience, this is the book. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, In Pursuit of Happiness by Pablo Agrio. You can find it on Amazon.com. You can find it on Lulu.com, and you can also go on to mastermedia.com. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the book here, one of the chapters, and then I'm going to turn it over to my brother Latif. So bear with me there, brother Latif. I try not to take up too much of your time.
No. Go ahead on, bro. Cause man, I mean, yeah.
All right, so here we go. When you're pulled out of jail cell in the dark hours of the morning, placed in handcuffs and leg restraints, and put on a bus with other convicted felons, destination prison, your thoughts shift from what you did to what's going to happen to you. You don't see anyone crying on that bus. You see mean, angry faces. Some of these men will be predators, others prey. You need to decide quickly what side of the fence you want to be on. I'm not a tough guy, not by any stretch of the imagination. But since I thought about killing myself several times, I silently made up my mind that I would die defending myself before becoming prey. When I heard some cons speaking Spanish on the bus, an idea began to formulate in my mind. As much as possible, I would adapt the persona of just another immigrant caught up in the prison system. I'd speak English only when necessary and gravitate towards Central, South American, Caribbean inmates. I had no idea how this was going to play out, but I convinced myself that this was the safest approach as I learned about life in my new environment. I was transported to Richard J. Donovan facility in San Diego. I was immediately placed in the hold for my own protection. The local news had not done me any favors. The place was a madhouse. The inmates slept all day and stayed up all night yelling back and forth. I wondered if that was how it was going to do my time and whether or not I could handle that. No one spoke to me. I had no concept of what prison life was like. Finally, after a couple of weeks, I was taken before a classification committee where I was told they would send me to San Luis Obispo. At the colony, the first few months were the worst. Guys were always making challenging remarks whenever I walked by. Mostly they wanted to know how I felt to be on the other side and whether or not I still felt like a tough guy without the badge and the gun. One day I was standing in line waiting for the shower. A young gay guy from the surrounding area doing a short time pulled me to the side. At first, I thought he was coming with some funny business. I was ready to tell him where he could go when he began to school me about the colony. He said that as long as I didn't initiate a fight, no one was going to touch me. However, if I lost my cool and took a swing at someone, they were going to try to kill me before the guards could stop them. He said most, if not all, the inmates housed at this facility were there in protective custody. He mentioned the names of some famous guys, including 2 members of the Manson family who were housed in another yard. I took all this without any comment. I don't remember the fellow's name, but he also promised that as long as he was on the tier, he would walk me to chow and would have my back if it became necessary. I didn't admit this to him, but I was secretly pleased. Unfortunately for me, he paroled not long after that, and I never saw him again. After he left, and in keeping with the plan I'd begun to formulate on the bus ride, I joined the crowd watching some Hispanic inmates playing soccer. I stood by and watched silently. I wasn't sure if they knew anything about me, but decided it was time to find out what kind of reception I would get from them. A tall Mexican inmate that was given instructions approached me and asked me in Spanish if I could play. I told him I played growing up in Panama. He then introduced me to the other players as Panama and told me to pick out a pair of soccer shoes and join the practice. From that day on, my new handle was Panama, and I was a soccer player. This did not stop some from whispering and saying things when I walked by. But since I kept ignoring the taunts and worked hard to become an integral part of the soccer team, eventually the storm passed. I also began to put my bilingual skills to use for the benefit of the Hispanic community. I refused any compensation, and whenever possible, I treated the fellows to a soda from the canteen. In prison, being nice to people doesn't guarantee safety. Character does. You learn to mind your own business. See no evil, hear no evil, do no evil. You stay away from guards lest you get labeled a snitch. If you must talk about yourself, you keep it simple and don't elaborate. Most cons won't ask questions because they don't want you asking questions about them. During this period of adjustment, I could I found comfort in the promises of my trial lawyer that the appellate court would overturn my conviction on the grounds of prosecutorial misconduct. When I met my appellate lawyer, that possibility became less certain. She was a family law practitioner with no experience in criminal law. When I read her appellate brief, my concerns deepened. I closed my eyes and asked myself, what judge in the community where I came from would reverse my conviction based on what she wrote? The answer was none, and time would prove me right. While I waited for the legal process to run its course, I was assigned to work in a dining hall. The job consisted mainly of cleaning tables, sweeping, and mopping. I had to be there for all 3 meals. The position had no pay number. In the mornings, the first inmates to show up for breakfast were the ones that work at PIA, Prison Industry Authority. All cons joked that these were the big money guys. In prison, a job is important even if it doesn't pay. That's because those who work are issued a red privilege card and those that don't have a blue one. This comes into play for just about every aspect of life behind walls. It impacts visiting, canteen, access to the library, telephone calls, hobby, laundry, yard time, and participation in sports. Inmates that work without pay made up the difference by stealing anything they could from the job site and selling the stuff in the yard. Risky business for sure, but the prevailing attitude was, what are they going to do to me? Put me in prison? Followed by a hearty laugh. I spoke to a few of the guys that work at PA and got the rundown on how to go about applying for a job there. Everything was contingent on how well I perform on a tape test. The test of adult basic education, which was administered by the education department. If I didn't show I could read and write at least at the 8th grade level, I could not work in PIA. I would be put in school to improve my score. I aced the test, or to put it another way, I got the highest score I could get. The test proved I could read and write to the level of high school graduate. Of course, all this could have been avoided had I been able to obtain a copy of my high school transcripts, but since those were in Panama, well, you get the picture. So this is a small excerpt of the book, and it talks about the transition between being out on bail and attending my trial, my court hearings rather, and then what happened on the day that I was found guilty, and then immediately placed in handcuffs and marched to the county jail where I remained until that morning when they came and got me and put me on the bus with the other guys that were heading to the big house. Now, in California, there's about 35, maybe 40 prisons, right, Latif? So
Yeah.
on that bus, people are heading in all different directions.
Yeah.
My ride was the shortest one because I was just going right next door to the pen they have in San Diego. Though my perception, my impressions of that pen were not really based on any reality, since uh, I was coming off a fish, fresh out of court, and with a lot of publicity behind me. So they didn't want to take any chances there. I mean, for sure, if they'd have cut me loose on the main line, I would have been done in, as soon as I stepped off the bus. So I was marched straight to the hole and kept there until I was transferred to San Luis Obispo. Go ahead, Mike.
So you never really had a chance to try to take on another persona because your case was a high caliber case.
Yeah, but after I got to San Luis Obispo, that's what I tried. In my mind, in my imagination, that was why I was going to survive. But you're right. The time frame was such that publicity. Let me tell you this to prove your point. When I walked into the library one day, when I got to San Luis Obispo, there were newspaper clippings with my pictures all
Yeah.
over the bulletin board. So
Yeah.
they was waiting for me. But like the gay guy that schooled me told me, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you because this is a dropout pen.
Yeah.
But
That's it.
but if you mess around and let the thoughts go to your head and you get into it with somebody, then that is fair game. Because they're gonna say that you initiated the fight, and now anybody who wants to jump in and kick your ass, they will. And God help you if those guys don't get there in a hurry. So, I mean, all I had to do, which I did, is keep walking, man, and ignoring it, because the minute I stopped and looked at somebody mean or cockeyed or like I was a tough guy, they were gonna do me in.
Uh, Before Latif do his thing, I want you to let it be known how hard it is for an ex-cop
Yeah.
to walk a yard, not just in California's prisons, but any prison around the country. That's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah. It's extremely hard because, look, and Latif knows that in prison, people run in groups,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them. They don't have to be gang members necessarily, but people from Central America, they run together. Border Brothers, they run together. People from South America, they run together. So, birds of a feather, they flock together. Now, and there you are. You ain't
Yeah.
got no brothers there. You ain't got nobody. Wherever you go, you walking by yourself. When you go to shower, you by yourself. When you go to use the phone, you by yourself. When you sit at the table, people stop talking. They don't want to talk around you. They looking at you mean. You trying to hurry up and eat what you got to eat and get out of there, because the vibe is such that you feel that you're not welcome. You understand what I'm saying? So that period of adjustment, man. I mean, yeah, I wish I would have written a little bit more about that. But like I said, my intentions when I wrote the book was not really to talk about prison and what prison was all about. It was more a way of communicating with my son and letting him know some of the things that I'd gone through, man, and that basically I loved him and I wanted him to know a little bit about what happened to me, and maybe that would open up his heart, his mind to say, okay, let me give my dad a chance and see if maybe we can reconnect. But I'm doing these short stories with Latricia's helping me with that. Hopefully, I'll be able to delve a little bit more into that and share a little bit more about some of these experiences that you so well put that were very traumatic and difficult and hard to cope with and adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
No, yeah.
said,
No, I was just giving. Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah, because I'm familiar with California very, very well. First, let me say, are you finished?
Yeah,
Are you finished? Okay.
Yeah, let me just address the
No, go ahead
that
on.
was
Go
made
ahead
there
on.
by
Go ahead.
Sabrina.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that even when the system, because if I raised my hand and I said that I didn't want to walk the yard and I wanted to be PC'd, they would do that for me on paper. But then if they felt some kind of way about me, they could always set it up to where, even though I was PC'd on paper, they put me in a situation or an environment in which any con that wanted to, do something to me would. And this has happened with other famous people that go to prison. Not to say that I was famous, but people that go to prison that done something and they want to get at them. Before you know it, somebody gets at them and stab them, and nobody saw anything. So the comment that Sabrina made is well taken. Yes, they could have done me wrong, but all along, I'm here, not because I'm a tough guy or because I'm smarter than anybody else, but because of the grace and the mercy of God, man, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who throughout everything, man, they made it possible for me to survive, even against my own wishes. You know what I'm saying? So, amen to that. And Brother Latif, the floor is yours, brother.
Okay, first I want to say hello to Latasha. I hope I'm not chopping your name up. If I do, please forgive me, sister. Sabrina, hello to you, as well as Susan Bush. I seen you on earlier, but they was talking. I didn't want to interrupt them. But as you stated before, when in protected custody, I can only really speak from experience in California, because California's the only penal system I ever really been in. So I can only speak from my experience with that. But any part of the prison, especially during the time that we are talking about when we first went in, because prison life has changed from what it was then to what it is now. Now, I can only speak from during the times that I was there. Yes. And it didn't matter who you were. If they wanted you, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
I don't care what part of the prison you in. You can be in PC, protected custody. If they want you, they can send a hit over there to you if they want that. So ain't no hiding if they just really want you. But they still separate you. A whole lot of things that are done in the California penal system, a lot of that is designed to make money. It's really has nothing to do to protect the prison or the inmate or whatever name you want to put on it. It's survival of the fittest when you're up in there like that.
And brother, you can attest to this too, brother, that at the time we went into the pen was overcrowded. So you have to have a cellie.
Oh,
so
yes.
Just imagine when they lock that door at night and that's it, that's the final lockdown, and you got to get on that bunk and close your eyes. I mean, you can try to stay up as much as you want, but eventually you're going to fall asleep. And if that dude in that cell with you is on a mission or somebody paid him to do something to you, man, you're done. It's history. You're not going to wake up the next morning. It's that simple. So you're right.
Yes. What did she say? It's impossible.
He said it's political as well.
Oh, yes, it's politicking. Oh,
that's all
politicking from the bottom to the top, in between. You can't get around politics.
It's chess.
Yeah. Chess, you're right. Chess, not checkers. Chess. And if you're playing checkers, you're going to get ate up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I don't know if mine's going to read as eloquent as the other two, but I'm going to try my best.
Stop playing.
Stop playing, brother.
So let me stumble up on let me stumble up on a little bit of mine. First, let me let you see. This is my first volume, Surviving the Beast.
I see
Surviving the Beast, subtitle Crawl, Walk, Run, Fly. So I'm just going to turn bam somewhere. I'm going to start right here. So y'all bear with me as I try to narrate this the best I possibly can. It was Sunday, and I was ready to go to the yard to call home to make sure that my family had made it back safe and to let them know that I appreciate them traveling so far to see me. While walking to the phones, though, I saw my old Sally Mac, and we chopped it up for a few laps around the track. He told me that he was transferring the next day, as his custody level had gone down, so they had to transfer him. We stopped by the phones to make a call or two. And while I was on the phone, there was a Mexican next to me talking to his woman. You can tell because of the way he was giving up the signs of hearing the soft, sexy voice of his woman within the dark, cold world we lived in 24/7. He was drawing circles in the gravel dirt with the tiptoes of his shoe. And with the tip toe of his shoe. And I saw this and laughed in a low tone as I hung the phone up and walked over to where Mac and a few of the other Muslim brothers were standing. The conversation got good for him, and we laughed again when he squeezed between the telephones as if he was trying to crawl through the telephone line. There was a phone opening again, so I got on the phone next to him, but there was no one home. This brother walked up to the Mexican and told him that he had 2 minutes left on the phone. He was twice his size in height and muscle, which gave him a false reality of what happens when you underestimate someone.
Yeah.
I was hanging up the phone when the Mexican looked up at him in disbelief. I know he must have been embarrassed for his woman to hear that. I saw the look in his eyes as I was walking off to get back in line. While waiting to give my family time to call back, me and a few other brothers was talking and paying a close attention to the movements and shifts in the energy. When the brother walked back up to the Mexican, she snatched the receiver out of his hands, hung the phone up and told him, get the fuck off the phone as his time was up. The Mexican played it cool and just slowly walked off as if he accepted being punked. He looked up at him while walking away, nodded his head as to say, I'll be back. But the brother was so arrogant coming off the weight pile all pumped up that he didn't see what we saw. For some people, lifting weights to intimidate people was like drinking alcohol for false courage to say things they normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
Afterwards, he went on to brag to whomever he was talking to about how he had checked this Mexican. He was loud as he boasted about what he had just done. Everybody could hear. It was crowded on the yard, so it meant if one had hitter skills, meaning they knew how to ease up on someone without them noticing and stab them as many times as they possibly could. There was a chance, if there was a chance, the Mexican had, excuse me, let me slow down. The Mexican had just that. If he had hitter skills, and the Mexican had just that, but he didn't look like it, which meant he was one of the most dangerous ones. He weaved his way through the crowd with ease, like a hungry lion that missed killing his prey and had no room for any more mistakes. As he was swift with his skills, the way he grabbed a brother with one arm, hugging him and stabbing him as many times as he could, with the other hand taking him down to the dirt. The brother was still on the phone, boasting about what he had done when he had got stabbed. He screamed loud into the receiver to whom he was talking to, trying to tell them that he was being stabbed. But the Mexican was putting that on his ass, reminding him that anybody's life can be taken in the belly of the beast. His screams echoed in both fear and pain. The gunman saw what was happening, then told everybody to get down and prone out. That means to lay face down with your hands stretched out in front of you, of your body. Most of us that weren't on the phone but close by just got in a sitting position until that got us and made everybody in the area strip down to our underwear. Then we went through the gates into the prison. We had to take our underwear off too, to walk down the corridor naked with our clothes up under our arms. Both male and female guards was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the first building, so luckily I didn't have to go far. I was in, let me get this here. I was in building 8. So the corridor, let me back up. Both male and female guards were on both sides of the corridor as well, as we all walked naked to whatever building we were in. I was in the first building, so luckily I didn't have to go so far. Some was being building 8, so the corridor was 1 mile long until I got to my cell. It was dusk dark by the time they finished searching the yard and bodies for weapons. We were on lockdown while they investigated the incident, and it was a couple of days of cell feeding before they let the entire prison know that we were on total lockdown until further notice. Cell feeding was the only movement allowed on top of medical and shower every other day. There were times when I felt blessed to have my food and cosmetics to weather the storm, because that's just what it was. We learned how to adjust in small spaces, the size of a motel room, small thing, with another man sleeping on a steel bunk bed screwed to a concrete wall. The toilet was so close to the bottom bunk that I can stretch my arms out and touch it. So usually the top bunk, whoever's on the top bunk slept with their heads facing the opposite end to maintain some form of privacy. But there were some that have no respect on any level for privacy, which causes two things to happen. One of you move, or you fight for dominance. Most people that are doing long time seek out someone that they are compatible with to avoid problems like that. We already know what the outcome is going to be with an undisciplined person. To live in a small space like that, you must have a strong constitution to maintain and survive. Your will to grow mentally will be tested on long lockdowns when the walls begin to close in on you. Anxiety, stress, and oppression will set in, which is when many went to see the psychiatrist to get psychotropic drugs to deal with their reality. Unfortunately, this transformed them into someone that tried to sleep their whole life away, hoping to avoid the realities of prison life. This cycle continues until they parole or never get out. It all depends on how much time one has and whether they were fighters. There were some that stood up to fight the impossible fight in the eyes of many, which was the exact kind of will and determination needed to defeat the beast mentality. That was the discipline everyone strove to have and maintain until paroled. About 1 week before the stabbing, I had gone to receiving the release to pick up a TV sent to me from home. I cherished it because my mother had sent it to me. The TV selection was very slim, so I began to pick up on reading instead. I used to read a lot in the county jail to escape boredom, as I was still going through the process of winning or losing my case. So I looked at life through a different lens, and reading became my best friend, my armor of protection. It allowed me to escape inside my mind and discover the beauty that I didn't know exist. It showed me ways to warm my mind from the dark, cold places loneliness took me. I became a part of the characters that I was reading, as if I had a front row seat. This also allowed me to learn a lot about myself, to go inside my mind and be comfortable with my own thoughts, as I explore it in many ways that I never knew, that in many ways that I knew for a fact I wouldn't. Okay, let me read it again. This also allowed me to learn a lot about myself, to go inside my mind and be comfortable with my thoughts as I explore it in ways that I know for a fact I wouldn't in any other circumstance. This also let me know that I would in fact survive this journey no matter what lays ahead. Being on lockdown can be smooth if you have the right selling, without a lot of issues. Mine was cool. He would tell me about the Bay Area, which we would laugh about all the wild escapades we talked about, whether they were true or not. He kept me laughing, and boredom didn't stand a chance with him around. Although I had only been in Los Angeles for 6 years before going to prison, I had a lot of fun, it was all over the city. I didn't gangbang, so being in the wrong area never was an issue. Plus, I didn't dress like one. But I noticed that every time Los Angeles was mentioned, or any other brother from Los Angeles was around, my celly had a negative response. I didn't trip at that time because I wasn't from Cali, nor did I represent being from any parts of Cali. Eventually, we come off a lockdown, but the energy wasn't right. Everybody was trying to get into the canteen to stock up instead of going to work or school. Everybody was going to the yard trying to find a way to get into the canteen. Learning how to read the movements in a violent environment was a tool and a skill to have to keep one safe. At times, I might not have At times, I might not have known exactly what was going on, but I would be able to feel and see it as it unfolded. I could feel it. That day, I saw a few brothers from the building while taking a few laps around the track. Instead of giving me a head nod and acknowledgement, they joined me in the walking. They immediately, how much time we got?
We got 9 minutes.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. In 9 minutes, so we got 9 minutes left. So I don't want to. I can just read it. But anyway, that would be. I got lost. I'm gonna stop right there because we only got 9 minutes left, so we can get into this other social issue. Mike, you want to start off, and I'm gonna capsulize mine. We're short.
Yeah, I want to show y'all something first. It's a penitentiary.
Excuse me. Let me say this for a second. I'm sorry. Someone asked me, did I write my own book in prison? No, I didn't.
Did y'all write y'all books?
No, I didn't. I didn't write mines in prison. I wrote mines once I got out. Right. I never had an idea. I mean, I never really thought about writing a book until I got out. And I'll discuss and talk about that at another point in time. But right now, I really want to open the floor up for questions and answering. Anyone have any questions they want to ask us about anything that we read out of the book? If you do, please text it in and we'll respond to that.
Until the next question comes, until we get a question, I showed y'all my TV. Now, y'all know we mostly get them TVs away we get released. Right?
Yes, yeah.
I was released from a drug program. I couldn't get my TV away. You have to go up front with your television, all your property. Right? They don't let you. But this, I was bringing this home regardless. I didn't care what many people asked me for this.
That's a typewriter.
This was my tool to my trade, baby. I couldn't, and it's just the old tick typewriter that they charge us $400 for.
Is that the clear one?
Yes, sir, it is. The ones in the law library. That's exactly what it is. And if you're paying attention, somebody said, I just want to say I have saw everything you're talking about. Okay, that's
good, great.
Sabrina Gibson. I like to follow her because I like to have a conversation.
Yes. Me as well. Please follow me on Instagram.
On any of my social platforms.
Or social media.
Follow me,
yes. Yeah. I second that emotion.
And let's talk because she that's somebody that'll be good.
Yeah, she's been following us.
I believe she mentioned that she was a correctional officer. So
exactly.
We really need to talk. We really need to talk.
We really need to
have a conversation outside of Zoom.
And then if you ain't noticing my GQ outfit I got on right here, right? You see what I'm saying? I stole this from prison. They live. You see what I'm saying? That's
my God.
That's my ID number. That's my name.
About that shirt.
Yeah.
I should make that.
I even got the belt. I got the belt. I stole it, but and
well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I used to make those. I was on the cutting table. That was my job.
I heard you say that before, though.
But
it's some social issues, man. Let's it's so much we can do with this show, right? So let's talk about some of these things that we watch the news. We still in penitentiary time. Some of us. Lately, brothers, I've been seeing news reports what he guys killing their women. Then some of them, the latest one, I haven't got my news, but we talked about it this morning in the prayer group. He killed his babies and set the house on fire. What do you think is going on in their minds? And then what happens to people like that when they come into the joint?
Let me say this.
You got a question,
when you finish,
Pablo.
Yes,
Pablo, did you feel threatened by being a police officer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to say that I lived in constant fear of being found out, and maybe not so much initially because, like I said, when I first got to San Luis Obispo, everybody pretty much knew who I was and what day I was coming and where I was going to be housed. I mean, back in those days, the cons ran the penitentiary, so there was no secrets. They everybody knew that, but like I said, it was kind of like we're not going to do anything to you unless you come in here with some foolishness and you think that you're tougher than tough. But then after I got sent out of there and I went to different yards, different penitentiaries until I finally ended up in Soledad, and Latif can attest to that. Once I got there and I was walking the main line and some time had passed, then it became a survival thing, and you always felt the concern, the fear that you could be in the yard and somebody recognized you, or the word got out and somebody decided that they were going to do something to you. And I had discussed this with Latif before in telephone conversations, that I was lucky that I had people that I met during my time there that had influence in the community. Like I'm not sure Mike can relate to this, probably because of what the business that he was in. I'm sure he had a lot of connections. So because of their network, I mean, I was sort of like, if nothing else, I think somebody would have given me a heads up, like, hey, don't go out to the yard, or you need to go lock it up, because if you walk out of here, somebody's gonna stab you.
It's funny you say that, because even you could have built a network, a wall around you, right? And all it took was the right one person to come in there and say, man, what the fuck y'all doing? This dude's a police, he's a rat.
Yeah.
Y'all letting him walk the yard.
Yeah.
And just that, I'm talking about just with those words from the right influential person, your whole world could have been destroyed. Your life could have been taken. And it's important that people understand that. And you got another book in you, because the title is there.
Yeah.
I can tell you a title right now about just you being able to survive what you survived.
We're going to talk about this when we see each other, Mike. We got lots of conversation.
Most definitely.
Listen, then we're running out of time, man. I mean, I see there's a lot of questions popping up. I don't know we're going to have enough time to answer all of them, but go ahead, Latif, do your thing, man.
No, I was just thinking about what she had said. She said, do you feel that your book would change other lives, maybe the system? Well, I mean, that's what my whole aim in Surviving the Beast is really to change lives, is to prevent, not to correct, to prevent. Now writing a book is one thing, but that energy, that personal experience, when you meet a person head on, and they know that you're giving them something live. You're not reading them something that a book you read, and you're trying to read a scripted something to give them. When they know you have lived a life, it's just like going to a foreign country and you speak their language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no misinterpretation or none of that. This is what I wanted. This is what I need.
I echo that. I echo that and agree with that.
I think that all of us, being spiritual men now, and men that have turned our lives around and are walking with the Lord, that's our intention. I mean, I speak for myself. If no one can, no one wants to second that, but I think that one of the reasons why, and there's sections of the book that I haven't dealt with yet, like for domestic violence, that I feel strongly about, that I have something that I would like to contribute to society, because even as I speak today, and after all the time that I did in the penitentiary, man, society hasn't changed that much in that regard. Men are still out there beating up women, some famous men, some professional athletes, young men that still don't understand, what it really means to be a man. And they think that in order to prove that you're a man, you got to lay hands on a woman, which is a concept that I grew up with, and I was mistaken about that. But I would like to talk about that in more detail, maybe in forums or to a live audience, to try to help the young people coming up today to understand that you don't have to use violence to get your point across, let alone to try to get somebody to love you. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way that you go about building a strong relationship. You build strong relationships by communicating, by expressing your feelings, by getting people to understand where you're coming from. And, for me, it took a lot of hardship and headache and despair to get to that point. And then, you know, the icing of the cake is to understand what love really is. Because I think that a lot of us, I again, let me just say myself, I don't want to put this on anybody else, but I grew up, and during my, you know, young time, my young age, I used to use the word "I love you" or the phrase "I love you" a lot to get my way, but I really didn't understand what love really was or what it is until later in life, when I developed some maturity and some wisdom, and the penitentiary got me to focus on and what's important, and Scripture helped me to understand what that's about. So yeah, there's a lot that we can do with our life experiencing, but surely changing people, changing attitudes, reform, transformation, change, and preventing others from making the same mistakes that we made. I think that that's what I'm about. I hope that that's what we're all about in some way, shape, or form. You know, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. You know.
No, I was just reading her comment. She said
I-
we all live in.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead on. Go ahead on, Mike.
address her
Yes.
comment right there?
Yes. Yes. Go ahead on.
Now, Miss Gibson, I was one of the ones who had officers do whatever I wanted them to do. Not because I told them information, none of that. It was because how I carried myself. It was because in lineups, my name came up. In the shift change briefings, my name came up. The administration was after me. I was the dope boy, yada yada yada. So with that being said, I had, I had relationships with female officers, and fair, firm, and consistent. That's what they teach y'all coming through the academy. Be fair, firm, and consistent, right? Fair, firm, and consistent is not how you deal with human beings. You can't be fair, firm, and consistent with every person you come across. So and I've had this conversation with many of guards, many of sergeants, many of lieutenants, many of chief of securities. That's not how you don't treat you're not that way with your children. You're not that way. You can't be that way. The system teaches you to treat us like machines instead of people. We're looked at in another whole sense as if when you walk out of prison and you go to the store and you deal with the people, the greeter at Walmart, right? So I understand what you're saying when you say you live in fear. Well, when as a correctional officer, the best correctional officers I've ever seen, not the ones that broke law for me, but the ones who treated us like human beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best correctional officers I've ever seen. It didn't matter if they locked people up like running water. It didn't matter about that. What mattered was they treated everybody like a human being.
Yeah.
Right? So when people would disrespect these type of officers on the pods, in the dorm, on the walk, whatever, convicts will stand up for them type of people. I've seen it happen many a times. I've been in 38 prisons, 4 states. I've seen it happen many a times. I've seen correctional officers' lives get saved by convicts because they was good people, and the uniform and the badge did not say who they really was. Right? Some correctional officers, it's just a job, and they carry it like that. Some correctional officers come in there thinking they can change the world to somebody that's already been damned. Right? We was already convicted, tried, and hung. So some correctional officers come in there thinking they gonna pull the noose even tighter.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of them don't last long, and some of them do rise up to be wardens and all that stuff. But the fair, firm, and consistent, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and I think that when she says she lived in fear, I think a lot of the officers that felt threatened by inmates are the officers that, as you said, tended to deal with inmates as if they were animals and mistreat them and abuse them. And anybody, even an animal, gets mistreated or abused, the minute they get a chance, they're going to lash out. But I know that they were female correctional officers, in my experience, that I met that were small, petite. I mean, they you wouldn't think that they had the strength to get into any physical altercation with anyone, but you'd be surprised how they gained the respect of the cons, and they were able to manage a wing, a bunch of men, locked up, most of them lifers, and get them to, fall in line, do what they needed to do, stand at their door, count, all that stuff, as sweet as they can be, and nobody had a problem with that. And I used to be like, just stand at my door and be amazed that this little woman would, be able to control all these men in this wing and had their respect. And it all comes back to what you just alluded to, Mike, that she got the respect of the men because she treated the men with compassion, with care, with understanding. And she wasn't trying to prosecute them or punish them or do anything to them that the law hadn't already done to them. She was just doing her job.
And but I know exactly what she mean. And the last female guard I messed with was on my way home. I'm in a 6-month program with parole upon completion of this program, and she was my dorm officer. So the fair, firm, and consistent came out of her mouth, right? And I taught her how to treat people in prison. You know what I'm saying? But I knew what she meant when she said that, right? Yeah. So it's now she said, I totally agree and saw all that, but I'm speaking out in the heart that I had. Yeah. And I know, and I mean, all three of us can tell you, we know what point you're coming from and what and what you're saying. So with that, I'm just saying the fair, firm, and consistent, that's police talk. Right?
Yeah.
So right here, you speaking to convicts, right? I personally 28 years in prison. You know what I mean? Not counting the years of adjudication as a juvenile. These guys way more time than that. So we're convicts, right? So when we hear those type of terms, we know you can't come amongst us and say, I'm gonna be fair, firm, and consistent in a prison uniform. We gonna automatic police, because that's not terms we use. Yeah. Do you guys experience unfair treatment? Did you guys experience, oh my God, unfair treatment from the correctional officer?
You must want another 2 hours.
That's another show altogether.
But let me.
That's a whole nother series. That man.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, but back to the sister's point, a lot of times in the training academy, when they train them and they send them to certain prisons, if they send them to a prison where you got men that ain't gonna never go home, or they got so much time, they gonna be, they gonna have to go to a convalescent hospital or something. They're gonna have to kick them out because they're gonna be too old. But anyway, when they come in there like that, they teach them certain things. But then when they come and actually get inside the environment now, and during this time, I'm only speaking for a period of time I was there, we were so glad to see Black women. And you got to understand there's difference in the mentalities of the men in prison. We all don't think the same. We all male men, but we don't think the same. And when you in there in certain levels, at this time, what I'm speaking of about what you were saying, you're speaking of your own personal fears of the environment itself. And I'm saying, I understand where you're coming from, because a lot of times, those of us that was Black, we had an issue that every other race will respect the women that come in there except for the Blacks. So we would make it a point to make sure that we respected her. So when she come in, her job was to pick up the mail, but she also knew you don't do no extra, nothing. Respect the fact that you got a job. You can come to work, you pick this mail up, you unlock this door, and you go sit your ass down in the office somewhere before you get tossed up.
Because they're gonna watch
brothers, and they're gonna protect her. They ain't gonna let nothing happen to her. at all, because they understand that, look, you in here, this is a job. You're trying to eat. You're trying to feed your family. I'm talking about during the time that I was there. I can't speak about what it is now. And that's how, and a lot of the women, they were scared because they in there. And then not only that, I can only speak for the California prison, but only the guards in there too. The women had it rough with the male guards. Then to protect themselves inside a male dominant environment. Because if she did show any kind of humanity to the men, she's going to be ostracized from, her co-workers.
Yeah.
Because they're going to label her inmate lover and all these things, right? Where she's only trying to exercise, her humanity inside an inhumane world. Because she's going to feel that you cannot be in an environment like that and not feel it.
Yeah.
So yes, sister, I can understand that. Okay, yes, you're going to learn a lot. You can't be in that environment and don't learn anything.
Fast.
I don't care who you are.
You're gonna learn fast.
Yeah, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn things you would never learn in the society.
Prisoner or guard, you're gonna learn fast.
Yeah,
but to answer the question,
nutrition.
Were we ever mistreated by?
Yes. Let's get to that.
With me, it became a point. Now I've seen people that had no problems in prison at all, right?
Yeah.
But with me, it became a point to where the mistreatment from officers became pretty much non-existent, because the officers was the ones that was around me every day. Like, you work on the dorm, you work in the pod, you work the tier, you 8 hours, 12 hours with this person that up front is telling you, watch him. He's the corrupter. I had the nickname one time as the corrupter, right? So a lot of my mistreatment started coming from the administration, the higher ups, the captains, the chief of security, the warden, all that. A lot of that, my mistreatments came from that, where they'll take me to the hole, they'll lock me up for investigations, keep me in the hole for 90 days, knowing that they don't got nothing on me. Only thinking that they finna shut down the operation, right? So, and let me back out for 90 days, turn around, let me be on the yard for a week, lock me right back up for another 90 days, and all this type of stuff. So, and then, it became to where they was mistreating my family when my people would come see me. You know what I mean? Giving my family, my girl would go up to the vending machine, microwave, to get me 2 female guards to go stand right beside and watch her, and all this type of stuff, and thinking they could catch a bag that I had already got. I had already got the bag when I sent it to the vending machine. You know what I mean? So they thinking that that's my move, right? But I was always, it was a cat and mouse game with me and them, right? But it became the mistreatment. I didn't go for. I wasn't one of those that act out. No, what I would do was, first of all, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
And my first letter going out would be one to my mama, one to my daddy, one to my girl. I'm in the hole. Y'all know what to do, because I already told them what to do on visits when I'm not monitored, right? I already gave them names. So now they finna call everybody in the state capitol that works under the Department of Corrections that has some type of power. They finna get to somebody answer the phone. Why he in the hole? What did he do? Y'all harass him. We got a lawyer. The lawyer calling. We need to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it got with me. And that's, my personal experience with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did. Well. Yeah.
I've had
guards
tell me that. I had guards say, you are exactly the person that they train us for. I've had guards say that to me. And that's real. That's real talk.
But I'm gonna say this to you though.
But I can pay you more than what they paying you. Now, how that sound? They paying you $3,800 a month, and I come to you and say, I'm gonna give you $10,000 to bring me this bag right here. I was him. That's what I did. That's what I did. And then you're gonna say about they search every day. They do this, man. They search me every visit. But I'm telling you what, it ain't nothing this big. It's this big. It's the size of this. And $10,000 and you know I can give it to you.
Yeah.
Some turned it down. A lot didn't.
Yeah. Well, that was the lure for a lot that, you know, they getting, although they getting paid, they checks and all that, but you run across, just like you said, you run across, it wasn't worth me.
Yeah, I feel you, but to some it was worth it.
Yeah. And, you know, and they make money like that. You know, all of them is different, you know, but that happens. And if you hustle and you about it, you're going to make it happen, because a lot of them got that badge on. They were this close for being in the suit with me.
Most of them are criminals anyway.
Absolutely. So it ain't, you know, it ain't too difficult to get that, you know what I mean? Plus, if she's struggling, if you got someone up and they struggling, even though they got a mortgage, cars, this and that and other, they paying, they got a nice job, but you offer me where I can get a consistent $10,000 a month regular.
Once a month, you get $10,000 to bring me something this big.
Yeah, you can go, and you can go. But you know, there's a lot of. I don't want to get on this camera store to exposing a lot of things. But prison is nothing like a lot of people may think it is.
It's a world within a world.
Yeah. So when y'all make sure y'all get a shot of this, don't sleep on the brother. Yeah, you know. Yeah. So you can get if you can get Daniel Steels. Yeah, you can get L.C. Homer, Michael Swain, and Pablo O'Grill. Yeah, absolutely. So in all, I know what.
Let me send a quick shout out to my brother Antar Mosby, man. He's tuning in and he's listening to us, man. I did a lot of time with that brother. He's an upstanding citizen.
Antar Mosby.
Oh yeah, Antar.
You remember Antar, right?
Yeah, that's my brother. After Salaam alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Antar.
I've been getting some people that's been incarcerated that know me, asking, man, can I come on the show? Can I come on the show? I got a lot to say and all of that. So our show is reaching people that we don't know. We think we think, not the ones we know.
Yeah.
But it's reaching people that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's watching us. So it's a powerful thing that we forming here, man. And I look forward to Wednesday night. I was disappointed last week. I wanted to fly to Cali then and prop you up like Weekend at Burns.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah, I'm good
though. At least put your face in the film in the camera.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna say this stuff, bro. All serious, all jive aside. Not that there's ever been any, but it feels good, man. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've never been where you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay. Yeah, back to what I was saying though. You know, when you come out of places like that, those are bonds that can't be formed nowhere else. And people in society can't understand it, because for some, and I'm in that category along with this brother too, coming home was a fantasy.
Yeah.
Not only did many others count a lot of us out, but the system tried to play mind games with a lot of us that was in a particular category. It wasn't just the physical incarceration. This is what, please don't sleep on this book. I'm gonna keep on telling y'all this here. It is the mental incarceration that one must break the chains when he get back, so he don't be damaged goods and he can be an SS instead of a liability to his family and society.
But you don't have to be in prison to be mentally locked up, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I see people, I deal with people every day. I see people every day that's out here free, that's mentally in prison, and they never been to prison.
Yeah. Well,
never been to prison.
I'm here to testify. I'm here to testify. I was in prison before I went to prison. That's the whole reason why I went there. because my mindset, my attitude, my outlook of life, the way I was living. I mean, I created a hell in my own mind, and that led to bad decisions, poor judgments, all of that stuff. So you're absolutely right. And there's lots of people that are living out there right now in those circumstances, and they don't know
Yeah.
it. They're
Yeah.
in prison.
Yeah.
They think they're free, but they're living in prison and they don't know it, and that's a shame.
But
Yeah.
let me ask y'all this though. The
Okay.
question I asked earlier, we got 9 minutes. She said, the director said take it to 9:30. We got 9 minutes.
Okay.
The question I asked earlier. Let's use John Lee Muhammad, the DC sniper.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Let's use him. Let's use him for an example. What would have happened to him if he would have hit a prison yard?
Somebody might want to take him out just to make a name for themselves, or he might have been somebody who, what went in there and people might have felt like he represented something and therefore he got statue. But you never know. You never knew what pen. Depends on what pen he fell into, and what kind of man or what kind of character he brought with him. Because if he was a jerk, people would probably turn from him right quick. I'm thinking right now with what happened with Mike Tyson when he was in prison.
Mike was loved.
You know what I'm saying?
Mike was loved. He
went in there and right away he got respect, he got stature, he was well loved and liked by not only by the prisoners but also by the guards.
But Mike also knew how to carry himself because Mike was incarcerated as a child, so he knew how to carry himself.
Oh, so that wasn't his first rodeo?
No. Mike was a juvenile delinquent. That's how he got into boxing. Gus D'Amato rescued Mike Tyson from a juvenile home. You know what I mean?
All right.
Put him in the boxing.
The environment wasn't new to him then.
Yeah. So,
but what do you think would have happened to Muhammad? What you theorize? What do you think would have happened to him?
I think it, when I say the right prison, because if he'd have came to prison anywhere in Maryland, DC area, he'd have got killed.
Yeah.
Because that was on the news. I was in Maryland, incarcerated when this happened. So that was on the news every day until they caught that guy. You feel me? And a lot of people will wake up in the morning, he got another one, he got 2 yesterday, you know what I mean? We all trying to figure out, was he black, was he white, you know what I mean? Why he doing it, you know what I mean? And some of those people that he was killing was related to people that was incarcerated.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, remember that. I know it was happening back east, but I remember that there was people were pissed off about it because they couldn't understand what was behind it.
Right.
So I tend to second what you're saying there. He might have gotten a bit of bad luck if he'd have entered the penitentiary.
They'd have put him in the hole.
The right penitentiary, he would have died.
Oh, you're right.
Unless, like Lateef said, he would have been put in protective custody and he'd have never seen daylight after that.
Off the rip, right?
Yeah.
But
they'd have hit him in there too. They'd have knocked him off in there if they wanted him.
What we really talking about is these guys here lately. I know of 3 of them. They killing their kids, they killing their woman, going and killing their kids, and then I think 2 of them killed themselves, and then this guy right here, I think they locked him up. In California, what would have happened? What happened to him once he hit a yard? If he hit a yard.
Well, like I said, here in California, things work a little differently. They got so many levels and different types of penitentiary. It depends on what kind of penitentiary he fell into and what yard he was walking. If he'd have gone to one of those high power level 4, who knows? The pen that we were in, Lateef, right? Even though they said it was a level 2, that pen was rougher than I don't know what.
Well, see, this is the thing. See, this is the thing, though, Pablo. This is one thing you have to remember about Soledad is that it wasn't. It reduced to a level 2. See, when I was there, I watched it go from killing gladiator school to going to sleep on the yard after you don't ate your lunch. Just take a nap with the birds and the yard cats. So to say that you have to, when one talk about this, especially if I'm talking, then I have to know what years we're talking about, because
Yeah,
prison was changing.
the
It changes
factors,
because
yeah, the
the factor,
conditions
because
change.
so because it's like this in where we was at, it can be war for 9 months straight, killing every time you unlock, they killing you. As soon as you unlock the door, click, 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 you lock it back up. Somebody gonna stay for various reasons until they pull a bus up, load up 5, 6 buses, and you go back. When they let everybody off of lockdown, you think another whole penitentiary. So what
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say
Yeah, they can change. They
it
can change the
flips. The
culture.
environment
They can
flips.
change
Yeah,
the culture of the
yeah,
prison in a
yeah. So you got
heartbeat,
to
man.
constantly adapt.
Those buses
But
keep coming in and going out, man. You
yeah,
never know what you're gonna wake up to the next morning.
yeah. But to answer your point though, and on a California yard, if they'd have did that, and he was at one where the politicking was like it
Strong.
was, they'd have
Yeah.
killed him
Yeah.
immediately. In the
Yeah.
shower, didn't matter. In the shower, in the chow hall, because it's guns everywhere you go. You're under a gun. Everywhere you go, you're under a gun, except for in your cell and on a
Yeah.
visit, school, library. Everything else, you got this on you right here. You move. They shooting at colors and movements.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you got some that that love shooting, being in the tower, because they took that for sport and play, and then go home and talk about it, laugh about it, joke about it. So yeah, it depends on if he was there and they'd have put him in a California prison during that time, they'd have knocked him off.
Yeah.
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 Listen, brother, I gotta say this, man. I hate to break up the party, but I have another commitment that I have to get to, and that involves my wife. I gotta go pick her up from work, and I got
Say no more.
20 minutes to get there. But listen, I love this, man. This was to me today was tops. I mean, we got a chance to share our excerpts from the book. We talking some real talk about the penitentiary life. So, I mean, we just keep getting better, man. And I feel the comfort level. I want to say kudos to both of you, man. You guys are chopping it up real good, man. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable sharing my story and what have you. So, love you guys, man. And thanks for letting me share with the platform with you. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, man.
Okay,
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna give all the props to the Most High. You know what I mean, for anything I may say.
Yes, sir. Amen to that.
And then secondly, you know what I mean, I'm gonna give props to our director. We ain't gonna put on blast and call a name out right now, but we definitely gonna do it. Oh, there you go. There you go. Say it again.
Latricia Taylor. We ain't gonna put on blast.
We ain't gonna put on blast like that though, but we're gonna make sure we put it out there. And again, as we closing out to end, again, we want to always thank and welcome those that join in with us. This is something that we really want to grow and get better. We welcome, truly, truly welcome all those that participate to ask us questions. Pick our minds, because we have a plethora of information. And our whole, yes, huh?
Miss Gibson said I must come back.
And let's just remind them, man, they can go on Amazon.com, Lulu.com, and MasterMedia.com and get a copy of the book, man. You guys help yourself. Put them up there, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Don't sleep on this here, man.
Yes,
surviving the beast. Yeah, crawl, walk, run, fly. Yeah, those are 4 stages that we all go through. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks.
No problem, Pablo, man.
Peace.
All right, Lucky.
Peace. Yeah.